What's up, good people? This is Locked On Jaguars. I am Tony Wiggins on a Friday edition, and it's a little bit late because I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I also wanted you to have something to listen to when you're sitting there wrapping presents and gifts. I want to talk about the Jaguars Christmas list, and I'll do all of that for you in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening on a good December 24th, Christmas Eve? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and all of those happy holiday wishes to all of you. I got to let you know today's show is sponsored by On Location. On Location is the official hospitality partner. It's the only place to score at once, and I'll get an experience package. Visit onlocationexp.com/SB56 for more information, or search Super Bowl On Location. Well, Christmas list. It's kind of ironic and sad that the Jaguars are actually requesting and writing down and asking for the exact same thing that they asked for this time last year: a better future, a good head coach, a leader, so that this team can finally get from off the schneid, if you will. And the reality is that's weird that you thought you got what you asked for last year, and now, as it turns out, you're asking for the exact same thing this year. It's pretty wild and it's pretty crazy, but that's just where we are. So what I'm going to do today is go over a wish list, and then I'm going to do like my parents used to do me. Oh, really? That's what you want? This old saying that my grandmother actually used to say is, well, as long as you want it, as long as you desire it, you might just get it one day, but today might not be that day. And I think what the Jaguars fans long for and what the Jaguars fans want is something that they're probably not going to get right away. And what that is to just be done with the losing, to be back in the winning category. And I'll show you some missteps, and you all know what they are, but we don't want to repeat them because we don't want to be here December 24th, 2022, we're asking for now. We're going to go over that. I'm going to tell you where the missteps were. But being that it's Christmas Eve, I got to get a little sentimental with you because that's kind of what I do, So before we really get too heavy into the football stuff, I just want to tell you that these holidays and this time of year, I see a lot of people saying that they're sad. I see a lot of people saying that they may have had losses or they've never really enjoyed Christmas. I'll tell you why I enjoy these holidays. It's because it's a chance for family to get together. Quite honestly, a lot of us work a lot. A lot of us are in different. A lot of us just don't have the time that we used to experience being around each other. I love it. I love it because it seems like everything takes a break. It's not so much about gift giving as it is about being together. So I want to first thank you guys who are part of my daily family here on Locked On Jaguars for making me your first listen every single day. And you allow me to kind of live vicariously through not being able to see and talk to people every single day. But I talk to you guys every single day, and based on the numbers and social media and the interaction that you have, you guys do a really good job of responding. So I wanted to take the time to say thank you very much. My wife and I appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you to the Locked On Podcast Network as well. The Jaguars have a game this Sunday against the New York Jets. I don't know if we should be asking for a win or not because it'll change the draft status. You obviously don't. You're not going to ask for a loss, but Josh Allen will be out because of COVID protocol. He'll actually miss 2 weeks. He'll miss the next game too because he's one of the unvaccinated players, and we know what the protocol is for that. I think Brandon Linder was questionable, and it looks like he's not going to play. But don't feel bad for Jacksonville because the Jets, they might have to call Joe Klecko and some other people to come back and play. because they're missing like the last I checked, it was 18 people off of their team that they're missing because of COVID-19 protocols, and Mark Gastineau might be available. So um, Freeman McNeil might even, have to show up for them. Joe Namath too. So they're missing a lot of people, and they're missing a head coach. If the Jags win this game tomorrow, Sunday, you got to you. I said earlier that this might be the worst team that they've ever had. I might be right. And if they can't beat a team, well, they didn't beat a team last week that was missing like 12, like a dozen people. And then I hear the coach that David Culley might not even make it to season number 2. If they can't beat them and then they can't beat the Jets, you really have to wonder what the hell went on here and what did they do here and how it get worse with a better and more talented quarterback. So with those things being said, the fact that we don't even know that in this game Sunday, the fact that we can't definitively say whether or not we think they're going to win, it goes to show you exactly what I'm going to be leading to here in a second. We don't even have to wait for the results. The fact that we're even sitting here at this point tells you just how bad things are. So you have to be careful what you wish for. And I'm going to go over some of the things that we wished for that we did get, and why I think it's very, very important for you to be realistic. I'm going to explain all this and tie it in to what the wish list for the Jaguars should be and what the realistic wish list is going to be, or we should hope to be, even though it's not quite as sexy. I'm going to do all of that for you guys here on today's show, the Christmas Eve show that I hope you guys can take the time to listen to while you're wrapping gifts and drinking eggnog and not watching Die Hard, which is a Christmas movie, by the way. I just had to throw that in there. And take some time to listen to Locked On Jaguars. I really, really hope that you find this very, very fitting. I want to tell you about Built Bar first, man. Built Bar is the bar of truth. And this holiday season, you should grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Lots of things going on, wrapping gifts, cooking, a lot of extra food. You can't go in those pots now until the food's done. So you might as well get something that's going to nourish your body and taste good while you're doing it. And Built Bar is exactly that. If you want to cozy up with something warm, here's a holiday season. Dip your Built Bar into a piping hot cup of cocoa, let it melt a little, and give your beverage a bit of that Built Bar flavor. Plus, you'll have a nice melty Built Bar to go along with that hot drink. Be sure to have a couple of napkins on hand, by the way, because it get a little messy and you got to lick your fingers too, because it's covered with 100% chocolate and it's absolutely delicious. So if you want that, you should go to built.com and use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off of your order. I'm going to repeat that again. Go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKed15 to get 15% off of your order. I'm telling you, man, please take advantage of that this holiday season and enjoy you some Built Bar. Fantasy sports is going on this weekend. I know you guys have your fantasy teams all set and getting ready in your playoffs, but y'all going to win. Some of y'all going to lose. You need to make sure that you're playing the right game, and the right game is Stat Hero, because you know who you're going to be playing against. That's right. Stat Hero is the first of its kind daily fantasy sports platform where it's you versus the house in a head-to-head fantasy matchups where it's winner take all. And you know who you'll be going against every single time too. And you got to be able to build your team to just beat that person, the house. That's it. Not all these other random dudes that you're playing with these other leagues. So this has never been seen innovation of a fantasy sports and sports betting hybrid has Stat Hero players clocking odds that are over 4 times better. Now, don't you want that? Why? Because you don't have to compete against thousands of experts or unknowns. Stat Hero puts you in control of your fate. So sign up free right now at stathero.com/lockedon and use the promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% deposit match. I'm going to say it again. That's stathero.com/lockedon and use the promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% match. stathero.com/lockedon. The promo code is again Locked On, and terms and conditions do apply. All right, rolling along and moving along here on a Christmas Eve edition of Locked On Jaguars for all of you guys. What is the Christmas list? What does the Christmas list look like? Well, the Christmas list looks like it looks like year. The Jaguar fans want a solid leader. They also probably are asking the Santa of football, can we finally just start winning? Can we finally start winning and be relevant? The one thing you asked for last year, you asked for a quarterback. You got that, so you can scratch that off the list. I really believe Trevor Lawrence is going to be real good once they surround him with the actual structure that he needs, and once they give him everything that a guy like him needs and deserves in order to be successful. You want excitement, relevance. You want more elite players, good players. More than anything, you want to know that you're going to be setting, somebody's going to navigate you and set you on a course that is eventually going to lead to you being consistently competitive in the National Football League and not constantly be over. We don't in this in the future. Just don't want to be back in the same situation again in the future. Nobody does. You don't want to have to do this over again. You don't want to have to always be in reset mode. If the Jaguars were a subdivision, they'd be the one that's always about clearing the land and setting the foundation. You never see a house because they never complete anything, and it's like it's never ending. So the Jaguars fan base wants that stuff to stop. Here's some things you have to do. You have to prepare for a lot of hard, boring work to occur. This isn't going to be a scratch-off situation. And it's really, really unfortunate because a lot of the Jaguars' patience, the fans' patience, has been used up. It's been used up trying to deal with the lack of competitiveness and trying to deal with the narratives that they're also used to, unfortunately, because the team just never wins. So most fans, when they write their wish list, they don't ask for things that are really obtainable. They say we've done this long enough. We've suffered long enough. We want to believe. I want a good football team. I want to be able to go to the stadium and feel good when I leave there every day. I want a good leader. I want to know I want an identity. I want the team to play a certain way. A lot of those things were promised by Urban Meyer when he got here. And the truth of the matter is the NFL is hard work, and Urban really coached the team like he wasn't really into it. Like once he saw how difficult it was, that he wasn't really into it, or he just didn't know how to go about the business of doing the hard work. I think Urban wanted to scratch off. I think he thought he'd say some nice things and he'd go in and he'd buy a lottery ticket, scratch it off, and he'd win $2,500 a week for the rest of his life. And it just doesn't work that way. This isn't Powerball. This is hard work. If you want that big house that is consistency, you got to get up and go to work every day, and you got to work overtime, and you have to save your money. So as a franchise, that's what I'm going to tell the Jaguars fans today. I see your list, but much like what my grandmother told me, as long as you have a today is not that day. This is not going to be something that's quick. And I know you say, what kind of Christmas show is this, man? You supposed to no, I got to give you a dose of reality because that's what I do. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. They're not going to win press conferences. It's not going to sound sexy. You're not going to hit Powerball. There is no scratch up. There's no Powerball to winning Super Bowls. There's none of that. Every one of those teams that is consistently competitive, they've been that way for a long time. And you don't ever get to a place where you've done something for a long time without taking a long time to get there. So I think we need to not be so focused on what we were focused on before, and that is, well, get rid of Mahomes. Get rid of Mahomes. I wish they had Mahomes last year. Get rid of the head coach, Doug Marrone. Get rid of Caldwell. I know everybody was saying that. Get rid of Coughlin. Get rid of all of that old stuff and get us a quarterback. And once you get a quarterback, get out of the way. And I think too much emphasis was put on blaming certain people. And this is the same thing. It's sort of the scenario that I told you about when I was going over. If you've never heard before, I always tell people, folks, really about 4 or 5 weeks ago, just kept talking about how bad the receivers were, how bad. And I'm not. They're telling the truth. I'm not saying they're not. But what folks did was, it almost took on a life of its own. That if all they do is just get some receivers, then this team will be fine. And I told everyone that there's a danger in feeling that way, because the is you focus so much on one area. Like you couldn't even make an assessment of another part of the team. If you just go, the Jaguars really need a nickel corner, or the Jaguars, good thing they're picking this year because they need some more offensive linemen. If you made any, and it's not like you were saying the receivers didn't exist, but if you named anything that wasn't a wide receiver, you immediately cut off. Like, first thing they do is receivers. No, the first thing that they do, they need players. You can address the receiver position, but if you're so focused on that, and it's like, okay, we got a receiver, we've arrived. Well, you know what? You got a quarterback with a big arm and a generational talent at quarterback. You thought you arrived, and you didn't. So these are the hard conversations that have to be had. The hard conversations that have to be had are the ones that tell you, stop being focused on one thing so much. This is a bad football team. This is a football team that lost to a team that had a rookie quarterback and like 13 people missing from COVID last week. This is a football team that on Sunday is going to be playing a Jets team, as I said, that's already missing 17 or 18 people and their head coach. It's going to be a slap in your face when you understand that you are not 2 wide receivers away from winning. So what I'll tell you, stop asking for stuff that is either too little or too grandiose. One reason is because sometimes you're asking for stuff that's not a reality, and you're setting yourself up to be disappointed again. The other thing is, and this is very, very important, you're asking for stuff that ain't going to fix the situation. And because you have an expectation that those things are going to fix the situation, you're also setting yourself up for failure. So now when you get both of them, one, you didn't get the thing to fix the situation, like Urban didn't fix it, right? And then two, when you actually get the thing you wanted, like Trevor, and it doesn't work, you got a double whammy of now feeling you feel almost responsible, like we're jinxed. I see that so many times when you say we're jinxed. We're just not doing it fundamentally and foundationally the correct way. What is that? You're going to find out, because I'm going to tell you in segment 3, as I grant you a Christmas wish, and it might not be the one you wanted, but it is the one you needed. I got to tell you about BetOnline, because BetOnline has you covered for the holiday season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march through college bowl season. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. From baseball, football, boxing, UFC, right into your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all year. So don't wait to take all the. Do it now. BetOnline starts. Make sure you use that promo code Locked On to receive a 50% bonus on your first deposit. Third and final segment here on Locked On Jaguars. I got to thank you guys for making us your first listen every day once again. And a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to all out there in Jaguar Nation and beyond Jaguar Nation. We'll extend that to everybody. I really do have a special shout out to people that don't have all of their loved ones this year, that are celebrating Christmas now with people and without people that you love and that aren't here with you anymore. You're in our hearts and our prayers. Also to in Kentucky, I still haven't forgot about those who had their lives changed by those storms and those tornadoes. We're thinking about you as well. You never know if you're going to be the one in those situations. So I always have sympathy for people like that. And I don't take for granted the fact that we're getting together with our loved ones. And there are some people that are struggling to even find what together is. So I really, really understand and I appreciate that. And I know words don't change things very much, but I just wanted to put that in the ecosystem that folks are not forgotten on this holiday. We're talking about wish list for the Jaguars. Let me tell you what they got to do. This was going to be in your box. Now, it's not going to be socks and ties, okay? But it probably ain't that shiny video game you wanted or that new laptop either. It's not a brand new car. This ain't a commercial, all right? What this is reality. The first thing you have to do is realize it's going to take a lot of hard work. You're not going to hit a power ball. You're not going to get a scratch off that starts putting this team in the playoffs every single week. So that's one, and that's two. Three, the common denominator of all of this losing over the last decade is the owner. So he has to figure out what it is he needs to do differently. One, you don't win the press conference, okay? Two, you also don't make a hire that's a below the radar type hire where you're making this a technical center where it's somebody who's totally brand new at what they're doing. Three, you need to actually clean slate. You shouldn't have any that building mark on football operations here more because you can't fumigate your house and some of those pests are still in there. You gotta gut it. You have to gut this thing out. All right. And you have to actually start from scratch. The structure of the football operations here needs to change. It does. And that doesn't mean putting more on Mark Lamping's plate, because I'm sure as the team president, he already has stuff to do. And you can't clone him and make two of them. So one Mark Lamping running everything is not going to work because now you're cheating both duties. All right. Clean house. Go to one of these organizations that seem like they kind of got it together. San Francisco, Kansas City. I'll give you some names. Everybody's talking about Borgonzi. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the guy under him. His name is Mike Bradway. There's another guy. You might know his name. His name is Rand Carthon. He's in San Francisco. He's like the number 2 guy behind John Lynch. His name is Hot. Third guy, Ed Dodds, the assistant general manager with the Colts that look like they're trying to make a run and they're built solid. Find you a football guy that is a great communicator. Now, Dodds communicates a little different than everybody else, and he's really a straightforward shooter. And I know a lot of people have had Urban here, and so they think you might need a soft touch. That might be a mistake too. What you need is just a guy who's going to be who he is all the time and shoot straight. So those are like some names right there, right? And you got to think outside, of the normal box of operations here, and you have to actually give them support. I would give them, if you name a GM, I'd name a vice president of football operations as well. And under him, I'd name a pro personnel director and a player personnel director under them. And then I'd have an assistant pro personnel and assistant player personnel director. And then you get to the director of college scouting, I'd make that staff a little bit bigger as well. There would be a list of guys who give you a system of checks and balances that know football, and I'd find them from good organizations, and I'd give them time. 6 years. Look, we're going to give you 6 years. Do it the right way, because you really, really, really need to watch your steps and how you cultivate the culture for Trevor Lawrence. This is extreme. This is very important. This is very important. You need to make sure that you hire these guys. And I know a lot of people talking about dudes that's on TV. That's fine. No, look, the 49ers hired a guy on TV. I didn't think it was right. So you don't do what somebody else does, even though you think it's a bad decision. And you have to also look at the positions and the Raiders did too, and they ain't working out. So don't make the mistakes other people made. And then when y'all start screaming these names about guys you think need to get jobs, you really got to look at their resume and the actual titles that they had before you do that. Like I like Move the Sticks. I like Daniel Jeremiah, but people keep saying make Daniel Jeremiah your GM. Daniel Jeremiah has only been a scout, and I'm not saying only been a scout as if that's not a big deal, but in the pantheon of that world, that would basically be. I was going to say that's like taking a dude off TV and making him president. So I can't say that, but in that world, that's basically like It's like taking a gunnery sergeant and making him chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's hard to do because there's a lot of stuff that goes into management, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into structure, and a lot of stuff that goes into big picture things that if someone doesn't have a demonstrated performance in doing it, it's hard enough when people do. Dave Caldwell was perfect for the GM job because his resume said so. And it's hard for guys like that. It's hard for guys like, especially when you don't give them what they want or what they need to survive. So you can look at like the Kansas City Chiefs front office structure and then look at New England's and say, well, we're more like New England and they're more successful than Kansas City. Well, one, Bob Kraft, what he does most is football. So he's there. Okay. Two, he's done it for a long time, not like Shad, 10 years versus 20, 25 years. Three, he has another team president who's a football guy, his son. Four, we forgot Bill Belichick is really the de facto. He runs everything. He's the GOAT. Right? So that's one of the things that we have to do. One of the things that we really have to do is hope that Shad isn't thinking the way some fans are thinking and some people in the media are thinking, where he's thinking about a coach right now. If you jump the gun and go to a coach, then that means you're going to keep Trent Baalke, and I think that's a mistake. But if you're jumping the gun and you're worried about a coach, as opposed to restructuring operations, then allowing the GM and the assistant GM, in conjunction with you, the owner, to find the coach that's going to mesh with that GM and mesh with the vision that you all have of what you want the identity of this football team to be, then you're doing it all wrong. And if you do that, you're going to make a bad mistake. And it doesn't mean that it can't work, but I think it works better if you gut it from the top and then you start sprinkling it out. And then just tell everybody to sort of be patient and do this thing the right way. Get talent. Don't use another waste and trying to get infrastructure guys. If you got to go into free agency and just get 4 elite people as opposed to 13 mediocre guys, or as they call it, Middleton, you get 8 guys. And then you in the draft, that first round pick or the first or second overall or whatever it's going to be, you get another elite guy. Then you use the rest of the draft to take the best player available, regardless of position. You are now in a position where I'm not saying all pros. I'm saying guys that are almost Pro Bowl types that you're going to have to pay free agency. 5 or 6 elite guys around Trevor Lawrence, guys that when you march out of that locker room, you see Trent and those 5 dudes, and you're like, oh yeah. And stop expecting guys on this team that are not elite, that are just good football players, to actually be elite and do elite things. It's like we've been balling on a budget, and we got to stop doing that. So Jaguars, I'm telling you, here's what's in your envelope. When you open that envelope or open that Christmas gift, you're going to see a word: patience. I'm blessing y'all with the gift of patience, because that's what it's going to take in order for you to not go insane if they make the same mistakes that they made in the past, or even if they don't and they do it the right way, you're still going to need patience in order to keep it. I want to tell you guys about Locked On Bets podcast, with all these dudes missing and the way the protocols are going and the playoffs are getting, you don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you who can tell you, and that's your boy Q and Lee Sterling on the Locked On Bets podcast. Make sure you make it your second listen of every day. Find that podcast, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and follow the Locked On Bets podcast. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I will see you Monday here on Locked On Jaguars.